tonight. What are some things maybe you're looking for if you're Coach Vara, if you're a West Coast fan, kind of from the West Coast side of things? What are you looking for?
Yeah, for sure. So we look already at the starting lineup. We see a change here. We got Zach Clay in instead of Alex South. Now, Zach Clay has been battling an injury for a little while now. Over the break was doing a lot of physical therapy, was kind of removed from the team. He's been back now, so hopefully after about a week since his first game back, he's gotten into a little bit better shape, so maybe we'll see some good action from him tonight.
And certainly provides another dimension. Alex is one of our best three-point shooters by percentage. Doesn't pull up all that much in terms of his shot selection from behind the arc, but when he does so, he's effective in doing it. But more that kind of long, lanky forward type more than a true center. Zach's someone that you'd probably describe more as that power forward to center, as opposed to just, your Durant style, long lanky guy. Durant might be 7 foot, but nobody's ever called him a center.
Right.
And so looking for a little bit extra bulk, being able to throw some different matchups. Austin does a good job fighting for boards, but just being able to have some different looks that you can go to. And definitely looking forward to this one. We've got about a minute until the opening prayer, the national anthem. We're going to join you on the other side of that. As we look at the Rhinos side of things, certainly something that, a game that they see as winnable. West Coast is at the bottom of the conference for now, but SCLU is towards the lower side of the conference as well. And so West Coast says, man, we got fans in the stands. This is our time. We want to break that conference winless streak that we're facing right now. And certainly you know that both teams are going to be fired up for this one here tonight. Any X-Factor player on West Coast? You already mentioned Zach Clay. Obviously, we're familiar with some of the names, and maybe you want to highlight a part of even one of our regular starters games, or maybe take a deep dive. What's maybe one player for a fan to keep an eye on here in the early going?
Yeah, I think we got to look for Jacob Castro. Also, not playing much the first part of the season, provide some extra ball handling, extra shooting, might relieve some pressure from Wesley Carnes, maybe able to get him open, let him score some more points. So his impact may be bigger than just points here, with him coming off the bench doing some ball handling for West Coast.
And we'll see if birthday boy Jacob Carnes is able to contribute here tonight. We'll join you on the other side of the prayer, anthem, and introductions as your Eagles take on the SCLU Rhinos.
And your West Coast Baptist Eagles. We'd like to welcome the officials for tonight's game, Mr. Bernice Hoskins, Mr. Anthony Carter, and Mr. Jonathan Owens. Now fans, we ask that you would please rise. And gentlemen, kindly remove your hats as we open tonight's game with a word of prayer and as we honor America with the singing of our national anthem. Opening tonight's game with word of prayer, President of West Coast Baptist College, Dr. Paul Chappell.
Well, good evening, everybody. We want to welcome all the teams here for the tournament, and we're so grateful for each and every one of you, your families, your pastors, and all of your sponsors. Thank you for being here. And we're looking forward to a great game tonight, so let's pray and ask God to bless this event. Shall we? Father in heaven, we thank you for bringing us together tonight, and we thank you for education and Christian education in particular. And Lord, we just pray tonight that this game would be a game in which all of the players are kept safe, and the coaches have wisdom, and the referees as well. And Lord, we pray that everyone would have a great time throughout this evening with both games. Lord, we just want to pause to thank you for loving us when we are so unworthy. Thank you that you commended your love towards us, even knowing that we were sinners, and you died on the cross for our sin. We're so grateful that you would pay such a price. And we ask today, Lord, that you would help us to live for you and to honor you. And we pray this all in Jesus' name. Amen.
And now to honor America, please welcome the West Coast Baptist College Freshman 15 as they perform tonight's Star Spangled Banner. freshman 15. Now it's time for the starting lineups. Let's meet the visiting Rhinos of Southern California Leadership University. Starting at guard, sophomore, number 21, Bastian Cruz. Starting at guard, number 3, senior, Derek Barnes. Starting at guard, senior, number 11, Austin Balls. Starting at guard, freshman number 14, Martin Lane. Starting at guard, sophomore number 25, Jordan Cavizes. And starting at forward, junior number 35, Ryan Frazier. And head coach for the Rhinos, Bruce Victor. Eagle fans, it's time to get on your feet. Time to meet the stars for your West Coast Baptist Eagles. Starting at guard from Woodward, Oklahoma, freshman number 12, Stella
Back with you for this one here. Excited to be just moments away from the tip. We mentioned that we've got a little bit different lineup, and for the Eagles, Zach Clay going to be manning the middle. We'll see if he jumps for it. Sometimes we send David Goa out there. Clay is heading to the center, and he's going to be jumping in against Ryan Frazier. We've got Derek Barnes, Austin Balls, Martin Lange, and Jordan Cabezas out here for the Rhinos in maroon, Eagles in white, seconds away from this tip. Excited for a great game tonight, Jeff. And the ref getting ready here. It's up and away. And it's going to be SCLUs as we get things started here. Cabezas inbounding with Barnes getting ready to receive. Eagles don't typically apply full court pressure or something like that. Stepping out a little further even than sometimes for them. And SCLU has not traveled to the Walther Center so far, so we haven't gotten to see this team live and in person, and they haven't gotten to see the Eagles live and in person. So always interesting whenever we have those kinds of matchups, as both teams kind of feeling each other out. Obviously, it's a conference game within each year, but not with this specific set of players.
Yeah, and I think for once West Coast seems to have a little bit of a bigger lineup than this SCLU team does, so maybe they can take advantage at least on the boards.
Number 33, Asan Diabon on the bench for SCLU, someone that we noticed, right, he's got the height, and it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And looked like almost they were going to call the swipe there. Didn't look like enough contact to call it, and they saw the travel there instead. But I think David thought that it was going to be called for a reach-in. Plenty of pressure on Wesley right away. David finding Austin, keeping it moving. Can Caleb go up and down? Yes, he can. And the freshman Caleb Luthi opens the scoring here in tonight's game with a tricky layup.
He used the backboard to his advantage there, able to create some space to get the left-handed layup in.
Number 11, Austin Balls up top, looking for Cabezas. Now down into the corner. And probably a little bit of a kind of a lateral speed difference between Ryan Frazier and Zach Clay. Certainly a height and physicality difference that Clay has over Frazier. And so it'll be interesting to see which one can force their opponent to play on their terms. Clay down to the post, and Frazier got his feet set just in time. It's going to certainly be a matchup of styles between the two. And Clay picks up his second in a minute and a half. We'll see Coach Var's plan for him here. Ball's up top with it. Now over to Derek Barnes. Frazier snatching it out of the air.
Out-of-bounds Eagles basketball.
And the Eagles going to get the turnover here. A little sloppy in some ways from both sides so far. Some turnovers, the offensive foul, and some of these sorts of things. Go away looking for Carnes. Carnes has really been pushing it even from full court. And Clay using that size there. You saw some of that jostling under the basket, but nothing that was over the line. But you're going to need to see him jostle, fight, and just get those boards if he's going to be effective in this game.
And I think you're right. I think we are going to see a big battle here between Zach Clay and Frazier. Seeing Frazier drive a couple possessions, Zach Clay back him a few possessions.
And what looks like it's going to be a third whistle against the Eagles in just over 2 minutes here. And so something you got to be careful about. I don't think they've been doing anything process-wise that you wouldn't love to see. But at the same time, you got to be careful, especially when you've got a smaller lineup. Carnes running. Let's see what he's able to find. Pulls up for three, just short on it, and that one's going to drift out to the corner. Rhinos going to have possession here. And you saw Caleb Ruthie signaling that three as Wesley was considering pulling up. A lot of trust.
Yeah, celebrating maybe a little too early, but you know Wesley's a confident player, and he'll definitely sink a few of those later on.
Shooting 43% from outside this year, and so with a percentage like that, you at least like your odds. Carnes tipping it, Clay coming down, Luthi running, and I got a little bit too ahead of himself there. A lot of contact on it, but maybe they say there wasn't enough control for the foul. Would be the one thing I can think of. 4-2, Eagles still in the lead, but Rhinos can flip that here. Eagles playing more aggressively, I think, on defense than sometimes. And Cabezas is going to start working. Pulls up, 8 on the clock, misses that one. Stays with the Rhinos. I think both guys were looking for it to hit the rim, and when it missed entirely, right? Just unprepared underneath there. 5 on the shot clock.
Yeah, some of those shots are the hardest to rebound when expected to get a bounce and it just doesn't go your way.
It's going to swing around. They're going to have to pull up soon here. An aspirational three. but one that's not going to fall. Wesley bringing it up a little bit more slowly. He's got Ryan Frazier guarding him. Goa looks good. Yes, it is. The three-pointer from David Goa opens up a 7-2 lead here for the Eagles, feeding off of the energy of the crowd, their own preparation. Some extra fans in the stands here at tip-off. Swinging around Cabezas. And number 14, on. Kaplan looks like he wants a bit of a breather. We've got a timeout over here by Coach Victor of SCLU. West Coast, about 4 minutes into this game, out to a 7-2 lead in the early going. Jeff, what do you think has gone most right for the Eagles here so far? What's kind of at the heart of this 7-2 early run?
Yeah, I think it starts on the defensive end. See SCLU trying to get the ball inside a little bit, but whenever they take jump shots, some of those longer rebounds, West Coast have been able to track down, then get out on the break before the defense can even set up. So we see a couple drives at the basket from Luthi and then Carnes, and Carnes missed it, but that great follow by Zach Clay to put it back in. And obviously when you're hitting your threes, that always feels good, like David Go on that last possession. So maybe once they get into the half court, settle down, they'll hit more jump shots. But right now, just getting to the basket before the defense can set up is really helping West Coast.
Yeah, it does feel like you're vacuuming up the rebounds, and sometimes that's, soaring through the air to snatch it out. But however exactly it looks, just being able just to hoover up those rebounds, right? Not giving opportunities for the other team to get extra possessions. Two attacking Carnes, gets it to David, finds Caleb. Back out to David, up for a second from three, a little bit deep there. And it's going to fall to Derek Barnes, who's now going to bring it up a little bit more slowly. 7-2 here in the early going. Luffy on the back of Cabezas. No substitutions by Coach Victor of SCLU after that early timeout. Dish to Frazier. Now out to Cabezas. And David was able to get his hand on the ball. And you can see the slowdown as he tried to get it by. And from this angle, kind of with the back turn, you can't really tell if it's because of the arm or grabbing the ball. Ref was right there, saw the angle of it. And that's going to get picked. 35. Frazier is going to get the steal, get fouled right away. And so with Luthi and Clay at 2 fouls, I think probably Coach Vara, he got that second one on Zach Clay, but he feels like he can play matchups and stuff with Alex. With Caleb, he's a big part of how this team runs their offense. And so being able to find the right guy. Barnes deep, Wesley running. Can he work his way through? And not enough to call that, they say.
Looks like he may have lost it on his wrist and just hit the front of the rim.
And everyone moving so fast, tough to see it. Good catch there. Number 11, Austin Balls. And that one's going to somehow stay with SCLU. In and out, Carnes gets it, has some time. Now finds David, and he's got to watch Cabezas. Clay up twice, fouled on the second. And chance to earn some from the line. And Coach Vara doesn't mind the chance to pull the guys back over there and be able to talk through what he's seeing with them. Especially, if you believe that Zach can hit both of these, just try to get all the time that you can out of it. Clay rattles home the first. 8-2 is the score here. 5.5 into this one. Coach taking every second that he can. Zach getting ready to go for the second one here. And the rest of the Eagles trusting Zach to make it. And that one's going to be straight, but a little bit short. 8-2, our score here in the early going. And we just saw number 21, Bastion Cruz, check into the game on the SCLU side of things. Cabezas over to Balls, to Frazier. And a good deflection away by Pace. You need to see that with Frazier pretty comfortable comfortable from the perimeter. West Coast staying in more man looks, which means that Zach Clay has to come out and dance with him. Having that help there, trying to force him to one side, be able to throw the defense at that. Big time there.
And Pace on 2 possessions in a row has tipped the ball away, nearly stolen it.
Castro with the hustle play, stonewalling him as he tried to go for the turnaround. And then the scrum there, the ball goes out of bounds and stays with Rhinos. They're going to say that did not reset the shot clock, so it'll stay at 5. And Frazier here, guarded by Pace, is going to have to move. Pulls up from 3, deep, bounces right back down.
Shot clock
And
violation.
because it didn't hit the rim. And sorting this one out here, they're going to put 17 on the shot clock. Said it did get the rim, getting it sorted. And so Austin Balls is going to be here on the sideline. Pace is the closest man. And going to be setting up in the half court, it looks like, as soon as this is clarified and inbounded. One of those jobs I do not envy, Jeff, is being a referee. You got to be quick, you got to be accurate, and you got to be able to handle some very intense scrutiny of your work.
And whenever you call, you got to be confident in it, because players can tell whenever you question yourself. They're just going to attack that the rest of the game.
Tough drive, tough finish by Austin Balls. And working right through the defense. Didn't see anything that looked like a foul, but did see plenty that looked like just that good basketball contact that you see. And so to be able to get over the top, to be able to finish that with touch, impressive work by him. 8-4. West Coast really playing good defense. Man, giving up only 4 points in about 6.5 minutes of gameplay. Both sides digging in hard, but it's been working for the Eagles. And Cruz blowing up for too many steps. Refs having maybe a little tighter whistle on travel than sometimes.
We've seen a lot of travel so far. I think it's the 3rd or 4th one.
Wesley in control there. He's timing up the guy on his back. Turnover there, trying to get it over the top. 4-on-1. Over and saved by the Rhinos. Hit by the Rhinos, but you know what? Forcing a 17-foot jump shot, not the worst option out of that.
Another travel call. Oh my goodness. This has been a trend of this game.
And one of the more surprising ones, I think a lot of the times it has been trying to turn the corner, drive past someone or something like that, maybe loading up after a pump fake on a jump shot or something like that. 8-6. We've complimented the Eagles' defense a lot. There's a lot that's been going right for us. Their offense hasn't been able to make a lot of field goals here in the early going. If you're Coach Vara, how do you try to unstick the offense of the West Coast right now?
Yeah, I think it looks like Carnes is having the ball, but not for very long. And obviously, he's got to get rid of it whenever he gets doubled, whenever he's got a lot of pressure. But I think they got to run something, maybe get him off ball, getting the ball and with opportunities to score. It's been fairly quiet often, so once Carnes gets going, kind of the whole team will. But he hasn't seen a whole lot of looks lately.
Cabezas, Cruz, Barnes, Balls, and Frazier on the court for the Rhinos. Castro, Pace, Barnes, Goa, and Clay for the Eagles. And that one's going to get charged to 35. David Goa, his first. 5 fouls rung up against the Eagles so far. Only 1 charged to the Rhinos. Easy on the first is the senior guard. Chance to tie this one here at the line. And he easily splashes both. Castro here. finds Clay, has the 1-2 pace, excellent awareness, good interior passing there. Even the speed, a lot of times we think about post passing from the post, you slow it down, you back the guy down, you see the double converging, and there you go. But Clay moving quickly to be able to find that. And Frazier moving quickly as soon as he got the ball. That shot was going up.
Nice answer. That last possession, we saw a beautiful press break from the Eagles to get a layup. See if they can keep doing that and kind of pull off this press.
Zach Clay has been big on offense so far. Big impact. We talked about how this game is going to play out in light of the stylistic difference between him and Vanguard. But also, I'm sure the confidence, right, that you're coming back and working your way to get back onto the court. To be able to come out and just make this kind of impact right away is big time for Zach Clay. Good to see this from him. Chance to extend it to 2. And he'll do it the hard way.
Yeah, and we call that shooter's touch on the free throw.
Now Franco Murata comes in. Clay on 2 fouls. You see the impact he's making. You don't want to take him out of that rhythm, but you do want to save him for later. And right away, Asan Diabon comes to the scorer's table. Probably the most kind of true center that appears to be on this Rhinos roster. And so you wonder if they are seeing Clay and then immediately saying, all right, well, now is our time to try to Uno reverse, right? Get that big guy in there. Murata's definitely got some of the size and strength to be able to fight on the low post, but it is interesting that they see Zach go out, and that's when they try to play Diabon from their side. 13-11. Both sides seeing a little bit more success here in the last couple of minutes on offense.
Yeah, West Coast got off to that good start. They kind of slowed down a little bit as the SCLU offense started to wake up. Zach Clay obviously making a big impact. Like you said, SCLU is going to try to take advantage inside, get some stops on defense without Clay overpowering them on the inside.
It's going to be interesting because it does feel like, even if it's not come back to the basket, there's been a clear sense of intentionality with trying to find Zach in these games, being able to work things through. And so it'll be interesting to see if that kind of sensibility continues on with Franco, or if they change the overall structure of how the West Coast attack is going to look. No change on their side coming out of this timeout. West Coast isn't going to use the media timeout to change lineups, but maybe change instructions for this lineup.
And as this game goes on, if neither of these teams have a large bench, so if we see some foul trouble or see somebody having to come out of the game, that could be some big chess moves for both coaches.
And the opportunity for David, if he can take it, just a bit short there. Pace soaring to try to fight for that one. It's going to end up with the Rhinos. Rhinos up 2, working here, blocked by Pace. And they're going to see an arm sliding in at some point. Yeah, maybe they saw some incidental contact slowing it up. Looked like Pace got it cleanly, but maybe something kind of in the setup to that. And first one's going to go out. 25, Jordan Cabezas, the sophomore, at the line. Zach Clay coming back in, and he's going to come in for Murata. And so a pretty quick little
very
stint on the
quick
floor.
Not a whole lot of rest for Clay. They're really going to take advantage of him.
Cabezas splits the pair. And we've seen some different looks in terms of the full court pressure by SCLU. Previously, they've been bringing up 2 or 3. Now they've been going for just 1. Castro and another travel. This, if it wasn't a point of emphasis for the refs in pregame, I think we would have talked about it here at halftime. It's felt like anything that kind of could maybe be a jump ball, could maybe be an on-the-floor foul, any sort of thing like that has all just gotten categorized as a travel tonight, which is, if it's consistent, is okay.
Yeah, it's kind of their default for anything.
Cabezas works around Carnes there. And another one called.
Eagles basketball.
Yeah.
I don't know how many we were anticipating seeing entering this game. We might have already hit that, right? We are 9 minutes in. We've probably seen a dozen. Maybe not quite that much. It's been close though. Wesley looking, gets it to David. Now we might be at a dozen. And thinking about that one was that kind of, you're thinking shot and then you converted the drive and
Yeah,
get a little ahead of
refs really like to look at it. If you move that foot before you dribble, it could be as close as possible. But, I mean, right now they're getting every little thing. Got to be very careful with your feet. Their definition of a gather is not very lenient.
There's some fundamentally sound guy from the 1960s that just loves this, right? Like, this is John Howard. Eagles up one, ball's moving. Tapped away by Barnes on the run.
And offensive foul.
It's like Carnes got hit.
Offensive foul then on 25, Cabezas. And we've got number 10, Darian Hammonds, coming into the game for the first time. And Hammonds going to be entering the game for number 3, Derek Barnes. We're seeing that one guy, it's Cabezas here. It's varied a little bit, but most frequently been him. Trying to pick up Wesley full court, but not bringing a lot of pressure otherwise.
And Carnes has still been quiet, waiting for him to get himself going.
And it's definitely something, good work by Clay. Now to Goa, from top of the key, splashes it. West Coast up 3. And there's a lot of defensive tension over towards him. We'll see if they can keep that level of focus all game. Right, it's going to be tricky there. Cabezas gets it over the hands of Clay, and that's tricky. Frazier, Carnes gets it. He's on the run. Can he make it all the way? And he's going to have a chance to earn it from the line. Honestly, if you're SCLU, like, if one of your players had a lot of fouls, maybe you just let that one go, sort of thing. But broadly speaking, hey, you know what? He's on a fast break. Wrap it up or knock it away, and if you get rung up, you get rung up.
Yeah, better than an easy basket. And Carnes beat everyone down the floor, so your best option is to reach, try to tip the ball away.
Carnes gets the first. If you're Coach Var, are you trying to draw things up or kind of finagle with the plan in such a way to try to get Wesley more buckets? Or do you just say, hey, this guy knows how to score. I'm not worried that Wesley's not going to find a way to put it through. How intentional or natural are you being with it?
I think as the game goes on, you got to be more intentional. But I think we've seen some more pressure on Carnes before in games. But then when he does stuff like this, getting his own basket, starting on the defensive end, you love to see that. Don't necessarily have to worry as much about drawing up a play for screens or anything like that. He goes and gets his own.
And Carnes again causing the turnover, getting down the court, drawing the foul.
Foul on 25.
And that's going to be Cabezas' second. Not a big issue, 2 in 11 minutes, or anything. He's probably going to be fine. But he is the guy that's gotten deployed most on Wesley throughout this game. And so if he were to pick up another here in the first half, it's going to start to be the thing that you're going to have to watch. It at least be something to be aware of. We've got Martin Lange here at the scorer's table, and he's going to come in for Cabezas. And so Coach Victor looking at it, saying, hey, let's change up the matchups here. 18-12 is the score with 9:07. Wesley has a chance to add another, and does. It's 19-12. 9 minutes left in the first half.
I think those free throws are really going to help his rhythm out, especially seeing a new defender. Going to try to attack any weaknesses he finds.
And we've got the battle of the kaiju, right? We've got Asan Diabon and Zach Clay facing off here. We got number 10, Darian Hammonds, a little bit lengthier even. And Clay able to get the first win in that head-to-head.
I feel pretty comfortable with it too. He got the ball, just went right into trying to set up the hook. He feels good about that matchup. Diabon now working. Can he even the score? Back out to Barnes. Now Frazier. And a tough finish. Pace able to jostle and trying to knock him off his rhythm, but far enough out that he wasn't going to be in danger of any kind of and one. Barnes now beating this guy.
And they go back to Zach Clay.
The finish.
I think a lot of times some of these big guys feed off of each other, kind of a Shaquille O'Neal mentality of, you know, you may be big, but I'm still going to score over you. And that might have flipped the switch in Zach Clay's brain tonight.
Yes, sadly, as the one long-suffering, and we'll see this three here. Barnes gets it. And they're going to ring up Wesley. He was on the inside and came down.
Looked like a clean box out to me. Looks like the refs are saying he had his hands on him too much.
You certainly could have your hands on someone too much, but you would anticipate that the guard wouldn't then get up for the pull, right? Like if it was a center and he's holding him down. Okay, I'm surprised by that one there. But, you know, the ref was close enough. Maybe he saw a little bit more in the way of the incidentals than that did. But I gotta say, that center matchup, you think about like that mid-90s David Robinson wins the MVP. Elijah obliterates him in the playoffs. Shaquille O'Neal in the finals. Takes us to a title. Yeah, those like big-on-big matchups. Kangaroo and Russell, right? Korean versus the Legion of Celtics big men in the 80s. Sort of matchups. This is easily his best performance of the season I've seen. I know he had a road game where I think he was just finding a way, right? Consistently. Have this game feel his impact almost blind by.
I think we've seen a few games with him where he's popped on all of those screens and taken the three, which isn't terrible because he's not a terrible three-point shooter, but this game it's all at the basket, just dominating inside, getting some nice finishes off the glass.
And it's one of those kinds of things that anytime that you feel like you can just physically beat your guy, right? If you're a wide receiver and the cornerback is, hey man, this guy is too small, cannot guard me. Anytime that you get that, I can just physically beat you. You really get that rise, you really get that energy out of it. I think Zach probably rightfully feels, right now, there's not a guy on their team that can physically guard me. And you can tell that he's feeling the momentum. Barnes thinking about him, facing two, gets it to Zach, over to Caleb, now to David. And the ball is moving. Caleb's gonna think about it, and tipped away. And that's gonna be with the Eagles. 5 left. And so with the shot clock winding down, Wesley's going to turn the corner, get it, gets it up in time and in. 25-14, just over 7 left in this one. And I believe, I could be wrong, I believe that's his first field goal of the day. Had a couple of fast break layups after steals, so would have been that if not for the fouls. And that one's going to get called, looks like, on Luthi. It's his third. And that one, you love the effort. Probably was a little bit far enough away. I don't know you have to make that gamble if you have to.
Yeah. Got to be extra careful too early on. Just can't be extra physical.
Yeah, Castro comes to the scores table right away. He's going to be checking in.
Not surprising.
As Luthi hits the It's the bench. Honestly, I mean, he might stay there most of the rest of the first half, not because he's not valuable, but because he's so valuable to the team. You really just want to be able to have him in the second half. Jacob played well. We even saw the first time he played this spring, a little bit jittery, a couple turnovers right away, but just getting those reps, right? Getting game speed reps. He's looking a lot more comfortable, a lot more with it. Pace to go at. Wesley now comes around. Rifles through, Pace gets it. It's up. It's no good. Hammonds pushing the pace. Longe finds balls, but he's going to spin away. He didn't think that he was going to be able to get that there. Hammonds the balls. And David does a good job trying to navigate the pick. 11 on the shot clock. Castro working hard on defense. Good defensive possession for the Eagles. Can they stop this on up? And that one is going to end up in the arms of David Goa coming down the court when it's all said and done. They saw the contact there, which was good. Wesley finds David. 13 on the shot clock. Need to move. Zach, attack! It's a bucket for him here. As just under 6 minutes left in this one, scores 27-15. Honestly, Clay might have been around half of that. Has to step out and guard him. That's going to be tricky for him. It's not like SCLU is just going to give up and not attack things in the game plan, but huge net positive has Zach Clay been so far today.
Yeah, his impact on offense just made up for anything.
And Clay finding Castro, but just the instantaneous pass there looked like maybe they weren't quite in sync about that. 27-18, 9-point game, 5.5 left. Murata coming in for Clay. Again, still on 2 fouls, hasn't picked him up since he came back in. Trying to spell him, right? If you can be able to gain minutes later in the game, that's certainly what you want to do. Austin Balls, Austin Pace gets it here. Blocked by Pace! Rises up with him on the contest, swats the jump shot.
Beautiful block without having to swat.
Finds openings. Jacob, 3, just a little bit too deep. Can't quite get that. Almost knocked out, but Frazier comes down with it at the end. 9-point game, just under 5 to go. Hammonds from the side. Castro with the contest, but a little bit late.
Nobody boxing out on that possession.
And Cabezas comes back with it here. And gets it back. They're going to call the foul against 23, Franco Murata. 3 on Luthi, 2 on Clay, 2 on Murata at this point of the game. 9 on the Eagles, 5 on the Rhinos. And Alex South, honestly, starts a fair amount of games for us. He's certainly someone that's in regular rotation for the Eagles, and yet is going to check in here for the first time tonight. Caleb Luthi coming back in for Jacob Castro. Luthi's got to be careful. I think he usually plays with that good balance of control and intensity. He really needs to find that here in the last 4:37, as he's already on 3 fouls.
I'm a little surprised with that substitution from Coach there, that he trusts him enough, probably coach him a little bit on the sideline there. Keep his hands back, keep his feet moving, and avoid some of those fouls.
And we've got 2 Rhinos in the backcourt, but it doesn't look like they're going to bring a double on Wesley yet. Cabezas face guarding Wesley here. Pretty much all the way down the court. Finds the double, passes out. Finds it to Caleb. And we saw him load up and then dribble and it not get called for a travel. Truly, the wonders never cease in this game.
He's a great mid-range shooter, but he's just so small. Sometimes it's hard to get those shots above the defense.
Cabezas with the finish, cuts it to 6. Is out at 11 at one point. Just really, the Rhinos are selling out to stop him. Facing doubles almost every time he touches the ball, much less touches it in scoring position. but it's worked okay for the Rhinos so far. Frazier considers from the outside. South doesn't get out enough in time. And 27-24, 3:40 left. 30-second timeout. One of the runs of the game, and every basketball game is one of the runs of the game where it feels like SCLU is trying to find a rhythm. If you're Coach Flora, how do you disrupt that? How do you try to break up what the Rhinos are doing right now?
Yeah, well, I think they're doing a good job getting some different guys in there, keeping fresh legs on defense, even with these fouls. On that last possession, I don't think Alex South is super used to guarding some more perimeter players, so you got to think of closing out and just not giving them easy looks. And then once you do that, you got a group rebound. We've seen a few fouls off of the rebounds. Just got to get clean box outs and avoid those offensive rebounds. Maybe apply a little more pressure on the ball handlers as well. We've seen them get some steals earlier when they did that, so I think they could get some more of that going if they would put pressure on the ball handlers, get guys like Luthi and Carnes out on the break, working the ball.
And the Eagles attempting to break up this momentum in part, but bringing the starting lineup back onto the floor. No bench players. We've seen some Murata, Castro in the South minutes tonight. No longer. We've got the starting five. Good control as it comes away. David on the far side. Pulls up from mid-range. Off the back of the rim.
Clay with the soft touch, getting it in.
And easily the MVP of this first half. Certainly you have to give implicit credit to Wesley Carnes for all of the pressure he's absorbing. But in terms of production, Zach Clay is on fire here in the first.
And he's not overthinking it, he's doing the simple touches inside, getting the ball, using his body to create space, then getting it over the top of the defense.
West Coast forcing the turnover here. Cabezas stepping back, guarding Wesley as the Rhinos have looked at all game long. And one thing I like that Wesley is doing is he's consistently trying to go present for the ball. He's consistently forcing SCLU to account for him, and maybe to double team him, and maybe the smart play is to get away from him, but they're going to force it to him. Splashes it, and that's why you tell one player all game long to do nothing else on defense but try to stick with him, because that's what Wesley can do if you give him the space.
I think we saw 4 red jerseys on Zach Clay when they got the ball in the paint, so his impact just got Carnes open for that wide open three.
It's the West Coast Kobe Shaq, right? That big man outside player combination is a really hard one to be able to handle. Carnes running, and a late whistle comes in there, but with 3 Rhinos trying to close down on it, we're going to see that one. Austin Balls and gesturing at elbow. Looks like he stayed pretty clean on like maybe the body of the contest. Clipped him. 32-24, 1:59 left here in the first half. Margin at 9. If he can nail it again, margin at 10. Wesley automatic on that trip to the line. 10-point game, 2 minutes left. Cabezas bringing it up. Can the Eagles maintain or expand this lead, or will SCLU find their way back in?
I think this has been their best defensive lineup in the game for West Coast, just those starters doing work. Looks like they could have fed Clay inside, and I'd be trying to get the ball to him as much as possible the way he's playing.
And they were thinking what you were thinking. The pass is a little bit off. Frazier finishes, and he had enough of a step there. I think it's right to not try to go too crazy with the contest. 8-point margin, just over a minute left. And a good gamble by Derek Barnes. He got close enough to get away with it, but not quite. Luthi with a chance. I don't think he's done a lot of scoring so far. Zach Clay just keeps hogging all the points, man. He's 15 or whatever he's got in the first half.
Yeah, and if you're West Coast, you don't mind that at all.
But definitely it's been a good team game so far. And even these trips to the line, just that good controlled opportunity to try to make sure your shot is on. You'll need it later. Caleb good on the first, good on the second. 36-26, 10-point game, 74 seconds left. Probably looking at you could probably get 2 possessions if you're West Coast if SCLU shoots fast, or they could go for a methodical 2-for-1. Go Frazier, shot putting it at the rim. Pace able to handle the pressure, and now they're going to back off of Luffy. About 20 seconds difference here, so if you really hustled, you'd be able to go for it. Luffy pulls, not quite there, but the offensive board falls to David. Luffy thinks about it. Now out to Clay, to Pace. A little bit short there, and that'll be about a second difference between them. So SCLU probably going to look to burn this one down unless a really good opportunity presents itself. You can see number 3, Derek Barnes. He's just burning some of this time down. No real sense of urgency here. Just play for the last shot. 36-26. He'd like to get it down to 7 or 8.
And Luffy
stepping out.
He may be pressuring if he didn't have those 3 fouls.
Balls hits it right at the end. And an effective possession for them. They're at the end of the first half. 36-28. The score here at the half. It's been a tense game, tight game. We've seen quiet games by Wesley and able to some of the other consistent scores for West Coast as SCLU really focused on them. Zach Clay absolutely hammering this defender in the paint. Interested to look at some of the stats at halftime. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Couple of halftime stats for your consideration. We'll mention some of these right before the second half tips off. If you've gone to go get popcorn, coffee, or whatever you need to get through this second half. But on the SCLU side of things, Ryan Frazier, 5 of 6 from the field, 2 of 3 from outside. 12 points, 4 boards, really effective there.
No points by Derek Barnes, but 3 boards, 5 assists. Really pulling the strings well. All 5 of the assists for SCLU. Team shooting 45% or 44% from the field, 27% from outside. West Coast, West Carnes 2-9 from the field, but 6-6 from the line, and some of those would have been layups, right, had not the foul been volunteered. 4 boards, 2 assists, 2 steals, so working hard there, 11 points. But the name you've heard us mention probably more than any other here in the first half, a massive, I don't know if this is the 2025 Walther Center debut or not. It's at least the first time back, the first consistent minutes back in a while. 16 minutes exactly. 6 of 8 from the field, 2 of 3 from the line, 3 offensive boards, 2 defensive for 5 total, leading all players. 3 assists, tied for second among all players, and 14 points, leading the way. Huge first half by Zach Clay, and a decision that we called out in the moment from Coach Vara. That kind of lineup tweak, that wrinkle that we don't always see with Zach Clay out there. He's been paying attention to practice or whatever, right? Coach knew exactly what he was doing with that. Massive payoff here in the first half. As you look over the stats, what's maybe something that stands out to you, something that caught your eye, something you noticed along the way as you were looking at this one?
Yeah, I think first start off for SCLU, see Frazier there with the 12 points. It's not a whole lot, but he's had a lot of bigger guys guarding him. Usually the biggest guy West Coast has on the floor. Using some of that quickness we saw early on to get to the basket and score. But then once again for West Coast, just a big play from Zach Clay. Got those 2 early fouls and still not afraid just to keep battling inside, keep being a little bit physical without fouling and still scoring, making a huge impact. And that may be huge in the second half. If this SCLU defense really keys in on Zach Clay, you're going to see some other guys like Luthi, especially Wes Carnes, get some more open looks, some more open opportunities there on the offensive end.
And something to note, we've mentioned some of the things about fouls. The only player with multiple on SCLU is Jordan Cabezas with 2. Now, he has been the one most consistently getting committed to that man guarding of Wes Carnes. And so it will be interesting to see how things play out if that number continues to grow. On the West Coast side, we've got 3 players with multiple. Franco Murata and Zach Clay, the 2 centers that have taken most of the minutes so far tonight, both on 2. Caleb Luthi on 3. And Coach checked him along with the other starters back into the game late in the first half. Has the confidence that he knows what to do. Even as a freshman, he's composed enough to be able to play his game and also not pick up fouls. But he's got to keep doing that because he is one split-second gamble that he shouldn't have made away from really being in trouble here. And so it'll be interesting to keep an eye on how he does with this one. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. We'll jump back in closer to the tip of the second half with some more stats and analysis of this game. Have a special segment we're going to try to make sure happens for you here in just a second. So stay tuned. We'll catch up, and we'll be back.
the second half of tonight's game.
The
Our
second
score
half is
right
about
now,
to kick off here in the Walther Center. Eagles up 8 after a thrilling first half. Ryan Frazier leading the way for the Rhinos. 12 points on only 6 shots. Doing a great job of efficiently scoring from the Rhinos side of things. Wesley Carnes 2 of 9 from the field, 6 of 6 from the line, still finding a way to make an impact. But Zach Clay 6 of 8 from the field, 5 boards, 3 of them on the offensive end, 3 assists. He's been dishing, he's been scoring, he's been getting those boards. 14 points, leads all scores. Huge game from Zach Clay. Let's see if it can continue in the second half here. And Pace goes up strong, almost able to get that to drop. You'd love to see that fall, right? Every point counts. But wonderful to see him staying aggressive with it. He's a player, only took 2 shots in the first half, split them. 2 points, 1 board, 1 assist. Quiet, right? He's a role player. Sometimes his role's going to look different. But good to see him staying aggressive in that role.
Yeah, he's a sneaky good offensive rebounder as well. Sometimes you'll see him in there going against some bigger guys and still getting the ball every once in a while.
Rolls out of the inside of the rim. 36-28 again, your score at the half. Hasn't changed yet, but Austin can and does.
Looked like SCLU going to a zone defense to start off this half.
That's an interesting choice. Honestly, I feel like the defense is pretty good in the first half. Like, you probably need to rework how you match up with Zach. But all in all, like I'm not mad about what I've been doing on defense if I'm Coach Bruce Victor for SCLU. You see that same kind of man matchup against Wesley here. David now looking to work. Out to West. Up from 3. Down for 3. He's getting like 1 second of space, and he's having to make the most of it. Does it. And 40-30 is our score here. Dancing. And they say that David was part of deflecting that out. Cabezas on the side, but a little quieter on offense so far. Swinging over to Austin Balls. Ryan Frazier up top. Goa has to contest to the left. And Wesley trying to work his way through the pressure.
We've seen a few shots that have drained for Frazier and a few just like that one just go straight off the backboard.
Austin Balls.
And Coach mentioning that it had gotten knocked around by some feet while it was on the ground before it then got scooped and scored by SCLU. Wesley from deep. Zach Clay gets it. And looking at the ref for a whistle there, is not going to get it.
Yeah, it looks fairly clean to me.
Frazier, Cabezas. Yeah, it was too many. 1 extra step to get
This goes basketball.
And almost depends on that, how you time up that last dribble. Because you've seen people do similar reverse layups, but maybe you saw one pull of that ball too early. Wesley with the composure to keep it moving. Zach finds Caleb. Finds the net! 43-32. And Caleb had only hit 1 field goal in the first half, but just knows that his moment will come if he's ready for it. Frazier, pace.
Smart play from Zach Clay, staying straight up, avoiding the foul on that drive.
Carnes, 3, good! And you called this earlier in the game.
Timeout.
The
SCLU.
longer the game goes, the more and more committed and more difficult it is to maintain the commitment to sticking on him every second of every game all the time. And Wesley been able to find his range here in the second. It's been impressive there. Coach Victor immediately going to the timeout, and it feels like the plan is kind of the plan, right? like if some random player went off, if maybe a player on their team just started raining in threes, and Coach Vara calls a timeout, you anticipate, okay, we're going to change up how we match up with him. It feels like they're putting the best wing defender on Wesley all the time, almost to an over degree, right? So what's the plan if you are SCLU? How are you trying to tackle this game on defense to be able to slow down Wesley's outside shooting?
You know, I still think you want anybody else to beat you except for Karn, so I think they should keep doubling, keep putting the pressure on. And those last 2 possessions, the defender just probably got caught ball watching, got off of him just for that half second. So you just got to have somebody in his grill the entire possession and just keep emphasizing that over and over again to your defenders. Emphasize help, especially when Carnes has the ball. You're going to want to keep throwing double teams, traps, just every little thing you can go at him to force the ball out of his hands.
And SCLU has some players that look good shooting the ball. It feels like they've been fairly effective. But outside of Frazier, the shooting percentage hasn't really come together for them yet. And so it'll be interesting to see who can rise to the challenge for the Rhinos. And Pace gets rung up for that one. I think his first personal foul, not in the first half. He plays more as kind of a power forward this year than maybe some players with his profile. But certainly a wing defender that you can throw at people as needed. Carnes is second, and so 2 fouls, about 3 minutes into this game on this trip down the court. Nothing too crazy, but the Eagles know they're going to have to be careful.
And speaking of Pace's defense, I think he may be the best on-ball defender on this team. Got great hands.
5 on the shot clock, gets it up, misses the rim. Goe's got it. Wesley's on the move. Cabezas closing in. Beats the double team. High. And there's that Austin Pace offensive board. 48-32. A game that was 8 at the half is 16 after only about 3.5 minutes of the second. West Coast coming out strong in this one. Lange in the corner. Goa tries to get it. And I think that probably was a foul, but the play was there, and then there wasn't a whistle for long enough that Coach Victor looked to the ref and said, but that's a foul, and then the ref called the whistle. So I get it, like it's better to get the right call, but whistle coming in late enough that David looked surprised, not because I think he was like, oh, I didn't touch that guy.
Yeah.
36-28 at the half, 48-32 at the moment. It's been a 12-4 second half. If you're Coach Vara, what are you telling the team right now? Are you focusing on offense, on defense, on just keeping the good times rolling? Like, what's the message in this moment at this time out?
Yeah, I don't think there's a whole lot to change on offense. They've been getting good looks, and we saw Zach Clay with an offensive rebound, wasn't able to make that, but then Austin Pace with an offensive rebound, a couple possessions later, able to finish. So on offense, things are going well. Carnes obviously hitting those 2 threes is huge. On the defensive end, maybe got to be careful with your hands, make sure nobody gets into foul trouble or worse foul trouble, and just tell them to move their feet, kind of keep the shooters too far out for a shot. But overall, good start to the half from West Coast.
Frazier gets it over to Barnes, who now is driving. Nifty finish. Lange, Cabezas. 8, and rattles that one home. An answer for the moment for SCLU. And Caleb had to work fast enough to get far enough forward to be able to get that one. And Zach Clay, I think more just going for the ball. And
some incidental contact.
In the area, made contact, but little surprised on that one. That's 3 on him. And Murata coming to the scorer's table. Coach Vara queuing that one up, knowing that Zach will need to be able to be part of the finish for this game.
Yeah, you'd definitely rather have him in the game to finish the way he's playing.
Clay comes down with that one, and Wes is moving. Caleb's running on the far side. Hits it! Spinning! That's one of the further reverses on a reverse layup that I think you'll probably see coming soon.
And he just got the ball away from every part of the defense, trying to create that space, and did a perfect job of it.
Luffy moving. Pulls up for two. Tries for the bank. Not able to get it. Austin Balls is now going. 50-34. Just under 15 minutes left in this one. Frazier been a little bit quiet in the second half, but so good in the first. Let's see if he is part of the way back for the Rhinos. Lange looking to Bezos. Bezos likes going left. And a tough drive for him. Good work working through the defense. Wesley with 2.5 guys, right? Lange even was starting to slide over towards him as that third guy.
All eyes on Carnes.
But you know what? He's got the scouting report coming in. So that makes it opportunity for another Eagle to step up. Caleb does so, hits the three, 17-point lead, largest of the day. Cabezas looking for answers on offense now.
We're seeing some confidence from Luthi, taking a few jump shots early on in this half. You got to love to see it and know he's going to make some more of those. Good job not fouling.
Goa with a good defensive stop. We shouted out Austin Pace's on-ball defense earlier. You definitely have to throw David into that conversation. Wesley misses the two, bounces back to Wesley, goes up, bounces to Austin, and that one's going to get knocked away, but stay with West Coast. Franco hanging out on the end of the scorer's table for a little bit by this point, and is going to check in. 53-36, 13:43 to go. Eagles with the ball with the lead. Could they get it to 20? Yes! They can, as Wesley Barnes hits from outside. 56-36. I don't know if we need to schedule a tip-off tournament every week. I don't know what the exact plan is here, but this has been a great team game by the Eagles.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of guys chipping in.
Trying to find Franco. It was a good thought. You could see him underneath there, but he had to clear his defender first. Wasn't quite able to get all the way around. Good awareness. Exactly a third of the way through this half. Nobody counts by thirds in basketball, but we're at 56-36 on this one. Austin Balls, Austin Pace, a matchup Coach Vars liked so far. Lange. Now Frazier. Pace stepping out on him as well, getting some of those perimeter assignments. And that was knocked away. I do believe it was on David, but you heard Coach Var be like, David, raise your hand. The awareness there, right? Caleb on three already. David at least has one fewer. Frazier with the steal. Can he get to an open guy? Here's Cabezas. Now across. Caleb overruns it a little bit. Drives, dishes. And David closed out a little bit too much into his airspace. And now David is at 4.
Those are two quick fouls to get him to 4. Refs like to call that an A to B closeout. Started at point A, but he finished the closeout at point B in the airspace of the shooter, as we mentioned.
Jacob Castro coming to the bench. Coach Vara has had a pretty quick trigger on the changes. Sometimes they'll let guys figure it out. Sometimes he'll be a little bit more direct with it. Clearly very much looking at foul status as a factor for how he goes about making his substitutions in this game. As soon as everything got lined up, Jacob was here at the scorer's table ready for it. And David turned, right? He knew that if there was a sub, it was probably going to be for him. David's a big part of this team's defense. We talked about some of his perimeter ability. Leads the team in rebounds per game, leads the team in minutes. And so really core to West Coast. Looking at Castro, then finds Caleb. And now Jacob's got it.
Seeing a lot of ball handlers in here for West Coast. Those bigs on the bench.
Jacob gets the drive, switches the hands and gets it to go. 58-40. The bench is excited for Jacob with that one.
That was a pretty finish for his first bucket of the game.
Coach Barr calling out defensive assignments, seemingly for Austin Pace in particular. Over to the corner. Now back. Frazier splashes it. He's been quiet in the second after leading the way for the Rhinos in the first.
He likes to shoot from that top of the key area.
And the Eagles have to retain their composure as SCLU does like throwing that extra guy. Wesley brings guys up press, trying to trap if the opportunity presents itself. There's a lot of game planning specific. They don't just go man-to-man. They don't have a pack line zone or anything like that. And so West Coast is going to have to remain mentally sharp throughout this one in order to be able to see it out.
We saw Zach Clay checking back into the game right before that timeout. I'd imagine Coach will put him in for a few minutes, take him out to save him for the last few minutes of this game.
And seeing a halftime game right now with some of the players from Indiana Christian that's going to be playing in the game right after this one. Jeff, I appreciate you covering it. I would love to be on it, but you know what? I'm already on my 8th game in 2 days. I'm looking for this one here. Yeah. So for those who haven't maybe been watching the tip-off tournament this week, if you just maybe the West Coast and have more what our games. We have a high school invitational tournament every spring, and the title game is going to be coming up right after this, 8:30 Pacific time. Too late Eastern time, but hey, stay up for it tomorrow Saturday. You can do it. Say yes. And it's going to be a great matchup between the Whirlwinds of Indiana Christian Academy and the Seahawks of Newport Christian School. Two teams that really have been the class of this tournament from the jump. There's been some other good performances. Lancaster as the host went 5-2, both losses coming to finalist Newport. There's plenty of teams that have played well, but these teams have really stepped up their game and shown the other teams what stepping up their game looks like. And they're going to meet in the finals. Now, Indiana took the first matchup in pool play and took the second matchup in a bit of a meaningless one earlier today. Neither team had a loss yet. It's a double elimination tournament, so both teams rested their starters really entirely. There's no more resting. There's no, holding on to one more card for another game. The finale coming up 8:30 p.m. Pacific time. Half an hour or so after this one's done. It's going to be a great one. Wesley a little bit short from the corner. Just popped that one right away. Had the opportunity. Cabezas dancing, driving, gets it.
Good way to get his body around the big man, open up for that finish.
And I think it had gotten all the way out to 17 or 18. It's at 13, and the Rhinos moving with the ball now. Cabezas tries to come down with it. And dish knocked away. And
foul's probably on Clay.
Foul 14, Clay.
I'll stand up for my guy anyway. I really thought he got the ball on that. But that's going to be his fourth. And now David Goey checking in on 4 fouls.
And they're keeping Clay in.
Wow. And so letting him play, right? These are guys that have been around the program. They know the expectations. Got 11 minutes, 23 seconds. You got to play hard. You got to box out. You can't do dumb stuff.
Yep. Can't reach, and you can't drop your shoulder on offense, especially if you're a big man. Nice jump stop.
And Wes saw his moment, just accelerated. He was going to get to the basket or die trying, and gets an opportunity at the line.
And Carnes likes to finish with that inside hand. If he can get to the left side of the basket, finish with his right hand, very comfortable making that shot most of the time.
Chance to push this out to 15. No on the first. Stays at 13 for the moment. 11-14 left in this one. Eagles getting back out onto the court after huddling with Coach Vara quickly. Splashes the second, at least gets one out of the trip. Cabezas bringing it up. We've got Hammonds next to him. Frazier, Cruz. Barnes. Hammonds does not get that one. Barnes running to David. Gives it back to Wesley. Splits the defenders, gets inside. He is in attack mode right now, trying to push this lead out to a more comfortable margin. Knocked away by Wesley. David's running. And he's going. Thought about the three before the Rhinos had closed down. Out to Caleb. David. Three. And a little too deep on that one.
Yeah, just a bit outside there.
It's an NFL field goal, right? It gets, as long as it's over that bar. We'll count that one there. 61-45, coming up on 10 minutes left of this one. You got to feel good anytime you're up 16. I'm never going to complain about that. There are a couple of guys with a number of fouls. And so if West Coast isn't careful, you're pretty quickly deep into your bench as you're trying to hold on this lead.
Yeah, 10 minutes is a lot of time in a basketball game.
Cruz shorts it, and Frazier gets it.
They might be scared to get a little physical on the rebounds now, not looking to foul anymore.
And you got to know if you got the position, right? You got to fight for position, and then if you've got it, away you go. Luffy's a little bit deep, and Pace gets the offensive board. Comes to Wesley. He says, I don't normally shoot like that. I think there's some contact. Clay going for the poke, but you got to be careful with it. Stays with West Coast. 12-point margin, 9:24 here, 61-49. Feels a little tense for the Eagles. They're playing well, playing as a team, playing hard on offense and defense. But there's definitely some navigating that you have to do.
And they're going to still have to push the pace and score, which is exactly what Carnes is trying to do.
Wesley driving, and he hit the threes early. And now he's in that
SCLU.
really flinty desire that I am going to get to the rim. And he's found a way to do that the last couple of possessions. Trying to battle with the Eagles on top. This would be their first win in.
Eagle fans, please welcome former West Coast Baptist College Eagle player Stephen Wheeler.
You're going to have those games that you're playing out of conference, up a level. You know you're probably going to lose some of those games, right? At the same time, it's not that like conference games are the only ones that matter. They really do matter, right? These are our conferences, our conference. This is our chance to gauge ourselves against them. Our kind of the same way. Big team performance. Big opportunity here. Rhinos, as they're trying to work their way back. I think both sides are up very good game so far. They've probably got two players now.
Ryan Gavin.
I'm not that worried about Rhinos defense. As long as the West Coast is spot. Let's change up. Willingness to bring some physicality, I think, is going to be a storyline over the next 9 minutes. If I'm SCLU, we're not going to do anything that violates the rules or the spirit of the game. But you're not just going to drive past me either, right? And we're going to see how that plays out.
Yeah, they've got a few fouls to give. And, I mean, if they don't jump out, try to get some steals, they're going to lose this game anyway. So, either way, pressure is going to be the best option for them.
Barnes and Cabezas. Hammonds now receiving. We've got Cruz coming out. Cabezas. And jumped well by Luffy. Knocked away. He wasn't able to get all the way up to that one for the steal.
He did a good job covering the back door.
Exactly. Hammonds in the corner. Now drives baseline. Over the top to Cruz. If I'm the Eagles on defense there, that's a pretty good possession. I'll take a 17-foot jump shot. Play facilitating here. David gets it over. And here's some of that physicality that we've seen. We haven't had a good old-fashioned travel in a while.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Might be the first one of the half.
63-49. And that one was, again, kind of that open, but then trying to drive, keep the ball moving. Not shocked by that one there. 8:37 left in this one. West Coast by 14. Frazier hot in the first, quiet in the second. Hammonds.
Stepped out of bounds.
Finish that one down on the baseline, and Eagles are going to get away with that one.
And I heard Coach Victor a few minutes ago in the timeout for SCLU telling them every single possession, put pressure on Wesley Carnes. Do not slack off on defense on his end. So they're going to be looking to go to that full court press, keep the ball out of Carnes' hands.
And if I'm Coach Victor, Hammond's picking up the foul, probably didn't have to, right? Pace was taking the scoring position. But that's the kind of thing. It's like, hey, man, we're going to play physical as soon as we get across half court, if not before. This is a bench guy. He's got a role to play, but I don't need him for 35 minutes. All right. Go be physical. Boothie looking for the drive. Can he get there? Play outside. And he's working his way in. 4 for West.
3 on the shot clock.
And that one's going to get knocked away. Shot clock resets.
Oh, it's a bad foul.
And Zach Clay is going to get his 5th. And a great game from him so far. Really just about the only thing marring a really dominant showing has been the fouls.
Media timeout.
But at this point, kind of what we've been chatting about a lot of the breaks, right, is that these fouls are going to start adding up if we are not careful of it. We're going to have to see this one out without arguably a player of the game. Obviously, West is always going to be in the middle of that. Some other good players for sure. Zach's been excellent this game. It's going to be up to Franco. It's going to be up to Alex in order to be able to see this one out. 7:55 left, 8. So 8 minutes, 14 points. Essentially, they have to catch up 2 points every minute, which is easier said than done. Right? That's not easy to do. These aren't going to immediately start bleeding free throws. So if you're SCLU, I mean, weird way to say it. I guess you got to be feeling about as good as you can be down 14 with 8 left. Enough players to throw out.
Games don't go anywhere. Coming up next,
If you're
the tip-off tournament
who's your X
championship
factor over the next
featuring
year? Once you
Newport
get down
Christian
kind of
and Indiana Christian. Coming up immediately
Is it
following
West just as ahead of
tonight's
something?
contest.
Is it another player that needs to be able to build off of the attention that goes to him? Who's the X factor in your opinion?
Yeah, I think it's got to be either Goa or Pace because you see, obviously, that pressure relief valve for Carnes the whole game has pretty much been Zach Clay. He's gone out of the game, so Carnes is still going to do his thing, probably still going to score a few more baskets, but for the most part, he's going to have pressure on him and going to have to give the ball up. So that's most of the time going to be going to Pace or Goa as far as scoring goes. Luthe's going to help with the ball handling, but as far as scoring goes, we need Pace, maybe some more offensive rebounds, but Goa to be aggressive and get some baskets.
I'll toss Franco Murata in there as well. I don't know that he's the kind of player who's going to put up 14 and a half first. It's a good player. He definitely has a lot to contribute, but it's usually not lighting up the scoreboard. But he will have to clean up the boards. Giving up offensive rebounds is one of the easiest ways to go from comfortable to in trouble. And so him being able to handle some of that responsibility will be a big part of it. David holding on to this one here, getting it over West, zipping it across to Caleb, out to Franco. Caleb in the corner, up for 3, a little short on that one. Off of Pace's hands, and it's going to flip back to the Rhinos. 12-point game, 7:26 left in this one. Austin Ball's coming up the court. Cabezas driving.
Good strip and a steal. Ooh, looked like a late foul call.
And 11. Carnes getting called from that. It's going to be his third.
Third personal foul.
7:21, 12-point game. Cabezas with a chance
Line for the Rhinos, number 25,
to get it down to 10. 2 of 4 from free throws in the first half. With memory serves, he hit both in a pair earlier in this half.
He also hit 2 out of 3 when he was fouled on that 3 earlier in the game.
True. He's got his first. It's down to 11. Rhinos dropping everyone back. We've got Derek Barnes now coming up. Murata with the board. And David there as a release foul for Wesley. Over to Caleb. Wesley's got it. Inside. Gets it to go. And with the defender going down like that, right? He's trying to set up taking a charge. The whistle coming late, the signal coming late. You didn't know what was going to be the call there, but the chance to get 3 out of this. We've seen him bombing away from 3 earlier. The chance to earn 3 between a layup and a free throw. 3 is 3, right?
Right.
We'll take it here.
He's getting it the hard way. Split that defense right down the middle to get a layup.
Carnes gets it, 66-52. 14 is the margin, 7 are the minutes. You can do the math, but either way, we are in for a tight close here in the Walther Center. Barnes to Balls to Cruz. Picked by Cabezas. Cruz from the corner, splashes it, and that's going to be 11. David gets it, he's got some space. Needs to get across that line. With space, Wesley looking at it. Caleb gets his chance. Swatted away by Cabezas. 15 on the shot clock. Plenty of time to work with on this one. Probably too early to start trying to burn clock, but there shouldn't be any aspirational threes going up with 26 on the shot clock either, right?
Yeah, you got to have a balance here to finish off the game. If you're West Coast with this size of a lead at 11, you can't just slack off and let it go. And I think Carnes has done a good job making sure they don't do that because he's really been attacking these last few minutes, making sure that they don't relax.
Going to the line for the Rhinos, number 25, Jordan Cabezas.
I didn't see what that technical was for, but Luthi got rung up for a tech. 66-55 is the score.
You know, I think he wanted a foul on that last play, but I didn't think it was an overreaction by any means.
The opportunity to trim it to single digits. And Cabezas gets both. It's going to remain Eagles basketball. Still 15 on the shot clock. But their margin won't be as much as it had been before. Refs sorting a couple things out here at the table. And the ball coming into Goa.
Nice
And
pass.
heavy pressure. Awesome place for a tough finish. We talked about his quiet first half, but role players got to be ready every time their number's called, and he was there. Huge bucket.
Yeah, right place at the right time.
Cruz thinking about it over on the side. Hit from 3, passes from 2. Murata up for the contest, but that one's going to be just a prelude to a sprint by Wesley. That might have been about the fastest he's made it down the court. And Cabezas comes up hobbling.
Timeout on the floor.
And
Official timeout.
some rough contact, it looks like, by someone who's really been fighting all game long in a complimentary way. Hasn't crossed the line, but has had to be really committed, really engaged on defense. That's a tough loss. He's grabbing his ankle right now.
Either way, he's going to need some ice after going Carnes this entire game.
And even if he's able to go on this one, which doesn't look likely the way he's holding it right now, we've got Hammonds coming to the scorer's table. And so at least for the moment, we're going to have SCLU's Darian Hammonds checking in for Jordan Cabezas. We're grabbing the ankle with some players hitting the deck after Wesley's free throw. I wonder if he came down on someone, maybe something like that. It's an easy way to sprain an ankle, or at least to roll it real hard. Austin Balls now gets it to Frazier, eyeing up Murata. And Murata got a little bit behind that one. That's going to be his 10th.
Foul 23, Murata.
Called against West Coast. Called against SCLU. 11 is the margin. 5.5. And Frazier has a chance to earn 2 from the line in his electric first half. Didn't have any trips to the line, but is able to get his first one here to cut it to 10. And he'll have a chance to get it to single digits on this one, but he does not. Falls to Carnes, and this is an opportunity for him without some of the constructed pressures that he can face. Just the man, the basketball, and the fear of the three-point shot. David to Caleb. West getting it back here. Turns the corner. Gets it to go. Scoops and scores. It's a dozen here as we hit 5 minutes left in this. Austin Balls clearing out a little bit of space.
Luthie's got to be careful there. Almost reached in too far.
And I think because he got some of the ball, they didn't ring him up for that. But if anything, I feel like I've called softer stuff earlier.
For sure.
And he was able to, I think the right call, but understandable with a tighter window. Like you could see that one getting called. 72 to 60. 4:56. And we've got a couple of former West Coast players in the stands. We got Stephen Wheeler. In fact, Stephen was going to do an interview with us over halftime, but he lost his voice cheering earlier on in the day. In fact, he's the ladies coach at New York Christian Schools. New York Christian in the finals. The Jeff will be so a lot of good basketball been played today. A lot of good basketball that we've seen here. Opportunity for one of the signature home moments of the semester. The biggest win by the Eagles this year on the road up in Portland. And so getting the opportunity to come back to home and doing always means more home. And not even a home game in January in the middle of the spring, but to do it with the tip-off tournament fans in the stands. A lot of excitement here, but you're going to have to see this one out. You're going to have to work this one all the way to the finish line if you're West Coast.
Yeah, see some good team continuity gaining in this game. Seen a few different lineups and working well with each other. So maybe able to carry that into a few other games. You got to focus, get the win here.
Yeah, I think obviously you miss seeing him now. The fouls hurt, right? But what Zach Clay showed, hopefully a confidence boost, hopefully give us some game plan options. And Coach Vara saying, hey, we can't foul here. Balls ends up with it, pressured by Pace. Frazier eyes up Murata, now gets it to Hammonds in the corner. Dishes it down to Bastion Cruz. Hammonds up and can't get it. Good work by Pace. It's going to get knocked away to Carnes. Slides around his man, up.
That high dribble
can't
pickup
get it.
almost got him open.
Steps into the three. And good look by Luthi. Knocked away.
He's got to be careful reaching like that.
Coach Vara calling no foul, no foul. Some contact here that hasn't seemed to rise to the level of foul. But West Coast is not toning it down at this point. they're certainly not scared of foul calls and playing all that much differently. They're daring the refs to call it. Carnes here to Luthi. And will be across half court with 4 left. Good feed to David. Up and in. 14-point lead. And got down to 9. It's not over, but being able to counter, being able to get something going back here, huge for the Eagles side of things. Pace trying to slow it down on the perimeter as Austin Balls now looks. Knocked away by Carnes. Stays with SCLU. And we're going to have Martin Lange coming in for Bastion Cruz. There's not a lot of three-point shooters. One of these players that are really defined by that on the SCLU side. Hammonds is hit. Cruz hit one, I think, earlier. Got a gang rebound here. Good job of trying. It's going to end up with SCLU, though. Lange over.
And West Coast definitely making them work on this end of the floor.
Frazier hits it from 3, 11-point game, 3 minutes left. David Goe looking for someone to come back for him. Try to thread the needle there. That's a tricky one. Frazier gets that one onto his left and gets it in. Just the wrong choice. To be fair,
Timeout on the floor. Timeout Eagles.
wasn't immediately presenting, but by the time he threw, Caleb was getting back over there enough.
Full
Either
timeout.
he hadn't started moving early, or David just got too much tunnel vision, or whatever the case. Locked in a little bit too much. Eagles ball. Rhinos fouled him before if you're SCLU, and I'm going to ask you about West Coast in a second, but if you're SCLU, what's the game plan? What is
I think on the offensive end, you're going to want to get Frazier looks. He's really been their guy making threes. You're going to try to get him looks for 3, kind of shorten up this lead. But really, you got to focus on the defensive end. Try to pressure in the backcourt. Try to maybe force an 8-second violation. Try to keep the ball from even crossing half court, especially in Carnes' hands. Because once West Coast gets it past half court, then kind of slow the clock down. But more pressure on the inbounds, more pressure in the backcourt area, I would think is what we're going to see from SCLU in these final 2.5 minutes.
the Rhinos out on the court? It's Lange, Frazier, Hammonds, Balls, and Barnes. For the Eagles, we've got the starters, except Barada in after play. Picked up his 5th. Caleb, David, some of the others, a little bit dancing on the line of what another one would look like, but they've gotten away with it. They've calibrated it well. Pace with the drive, with the dip. Out to David, now to Wesley. 20 on it. Wesley almost just flicked it blind. It would have been way after the whistle, but still would have been pretty neat.
And felt good. Got him in rhythm again.
3rd on Lange. 5th on the Rhinos. David gets it. Now to Wesley. Just guarding with 1 with Hammonds right now. Now bringing some doubles, kind of from different angles and directions. Hammonds, but you can tell that others are keeping an eye on him. Lange now coming up for the double. 4 left. Got to get up. Caleb does. Can't get it to go. And Frazier comes down with a hold in his knee. Hammonds swings it up. And that one's going to be deep. And we're going to call that one on Franco. Another holding with the guy inside position. That's obviously, I mean, that's the way he's signaling it, but it's tricky there. 4 on Franco. And so Alex has played quite a bit less in this game than his norm sometimes. Maybe it's just a matchup sickness or whatever. He might be out there soon. 8-point game, 2:01 left. And so if both teams played it as slowly as possible, you'd only have 2 more possessions on each side. But you sure know that the Rhinos aren't going to play it that way.
Right.
And you sure know that they're going to throw enough at West Coast that you're probably not going to be able to get it all the way down. If you're SCLU, when do you start like actually intentionally foul? Not just leaning that into more pressure, but actually, all right, I'm going to stop.
Yeah, some of that depends on how the next minute goes for them. But I would think starting with under a minute left, I mean, they've got 5 fouls. They're still going to need to foul just a little bit more. Probably starting with under a minute left, if they're still down 8 or 9 points, you got to foul and start playing the 3 game. Try to overcome, 2 free throws with a 3. But I would think with maybe about 45 seconds left in the game is when you really start intentionally fouling.
Yeah, I think if you're West Coast, you honestly maybe need to get only about 1 more straight up stop before the match really starts getting hard for SCLU. Now, sure, if they score, it's going to really change my mind. We're looking at about 8-ish, then 1 or 2 more times. With just a couple
And if they make a quick 3, they may change. They may not have to foul till a little bit later.
A 3 would be really helpful for the Rhinos here. A 3 might put the game to bed for the Eagles. We've talked about they being nervous before. It's truly crunch time now. Now is actually every little bit. Good feed. Barnes gets in.
Most definitely got fouled there.
And a late whistle on it. Wesley had to really get around for that sidestep, but in part because they might have seen a little bit of a shuffle.
Go point to the Eagles. Number 11, Wesley Carr.
153 in this. It's a 7-point game. 9 would feel good. Let's see if Wesley can get it there. Here's his first. Eight points, 153. West trying to push it to 9. Rattles that one out. It'll stay as is. SCLU pushing it.
Fortunately, that wasn't tipped.
Basketball.
And looking for a call of a tip there are the Rhinos. And Austin Balls comes up and gets it. Longe, Barnes. Will they pull up for 3 or try to work for a 2? Hammonds, Frazier from outside. No, Longe gets it on the post. Gets in, gets 2. Gets it to 6.
6 is very doable with under a minute and a half left. Really gonna have to work.
Kicked it, Frazier. 4 with the dunk. And a timeout there. This is getting real interesting, and I don't like the context I used with the word interesting there. 4-point game. Honestly, 1 basket about does it for the Eagles. 1 stop about does it for the Eagles. But with some of the pressure in the backcourt, they haven't cracked under it really on those possessions. But every once in a while, they pass a little bit this time. That's really difficult. 75-71. 75 seconds left.
SCLU's playing with nothing to lose here, going to get as much as they can to jump those passing lanes and steal the ball. I mean, they're going to lose this game anyway if they don't. They've done a good job coming back in just the last couple of minutes.
And coming out 75 seconds. What are you doing here, West Coast? Like, what are you trying to draw off? What are you communicating? What's the plan here with a little bit over a minute?
Yeah, probably going to put as many ball handlers as you can in that backcourt, get them moving early, try to get the ball in before the inbounder has it for too long. Just put less pressure on him. And after that, get some quick but good passes down the floor. If you can't get Carnes just kind of dancing with somebody, getting back to our side of the basket.
And the Eagles have David Goe getting ready to receive. Carnes gets it, sets up Hannon, has the one-on-one. One shot might do it. Can he get the one, though? He gets out of the double. Frazier comes up. Good job working around. Here's the double. Gets it to David. Wesley gets 3. Luffy, David, 2, up, gets it, out.
That would have been huge.
41.3 left. So, barring pushing it hard for the 2-for-1. The Eagles, if they can hold on for just a couple more seconds, are going to force. All right, shot clock's off now. Get it to Wesley. Force him.
Now they got a foul.
And
I can't believe this. The comeback is real. Oh, my word. Steal after steal and layup after layup. SCLU, this is unbelievable. West Coast is choking.
it is 75-75. 19.7 left in this one. And the birdcage is silent and stunned.
I don't think they know what to think. I mean, what was it? A 14-point lead with 3 or 4 minutes left.
At one point, it was bouncing out as a 14 with about 7 left. And this has been a shocking turn of events here. We're talking about how much this game would mean, all the momentum from it. Man, we don't need, momentum and storylines. We need points in the next 19.7 seconds, right?
Yeah.
It is now at the point where every single bit matters for this team. And they're going to need their fans cheering them on here with this one.
And if you're West Coast, every single player on the floor has to be ready to take and make a big shot, because you obviously want the ball in Carnes' hands. You want him making the big play, but if they force it out of his hands, you might catch the ball with 2 seconds left and have to put it up, so everyone's got to be ready.
Here we go. 19.7. Shot clock is off. Game is tied. The ref telling Coach Ibarra no more timeouts for the Eagles. So no Chris Webber situation here for this one. David with the trickery. Wesley gets that one over. Dives for it. And timeout by SCLU. 13.7 left in this one.
Timeout, Rhinos.
Another very costly turnover. Just cannot believe the loss of composure.
It really is. I love all these guys. They work really hard. It's not that, oh man, wow, look at how hot SCLU has gotten. And that doesn't mean that West Coast's commitment has waned or something like that. It doesn't mean they don't care. It doesn't mean they're not working hard. But the little things, just like the finding the right pass and getting it through that had been there earlier in the game, it's not there now. And so with 13.7, you got to figure something out, and you're not going to have a timeout to do something with it. So if you are, if they make a basket with 3 seconds left or whatever, you don't have that timeout to play with as you try to work your way down the court. What are you doing if you're West Coast? There's not a lot of shooting on this Rhino side. Are you trying to just pack it in and contest on the individual guy, but more so cut off driving lanes in the basket? Or are you getting really aggressive? Worst case scenario, a bucket gets made with 9 left and we know what we have to deal with.
Yeah, I think you're definitely going to stay back a little bit. You're going to want to close out on Frazier for sure. Some of these other guys, you don't let them shoot, but you give them less of a lane than you would a three-point opportunity. Because if they start driving in the lane, we've seen a lot of fouls called. They might even get some free throws at the end of this game to finish it off. So you want to keep the ball outside the perimeter as much as possible.
It's back to Austin Balls. Pace is guarding, 12 seconds left. Looks at a pick, goes around it the other direction. Out to Barnes. 4 seconds left. Swings it over to Lange. It's no good. Barnes gets the board of the buzzer. We're heading to OT. Here at the Walter Center. The Eagles dodge the punch at the end of regulation, and we're going to overtime for this one. The free basketball, the bonus basketball that nobody expected 5 minutes ago and nobody wants right now. But an opportunity for West Coast to be able to see this one out.
I think we saw some great defense on that last possession. They gave up a little bit of an open three to not necessarily a great shooter, but still, even at that, just a great defensive possession overall. And Carnes securing that board at the very end prevent the putback at the last second.
And if we're going to get all West Coast for, I think what's fair to say, a loss of composure in the last 5 minutes, excellent composure in the last 17 seconds that they had to deal with. Really locked in on their guy, knew where the passes were going to be going, and got there as they needed. And if they can do that for the next 5 minutes, they're going to get what they want to get out of it. But it's tough now in this overtime period. All the momentum has been going against you, right? And the longer that happens, and the fact that it was a big enough lead, that it took a big enough comeback, means that you've been on the worst side of momentum for a while now. And now you have to break that. You've got a clean slate with which to do it. But you've got to do it. You've got to do it without Zach Clay. You've got to do it with David Goa at 4 fouls. I think Caleb Luthi is at 3 or 4. I know he's at least at 3. I think he picked up one in the second half. Franco Murata is at 4. I don't believe Pace or Barnes are in trouble. But it's definitely going to be a tension-filled 5 minutes here.
And you would love to have Zach Clay see his major impact for 3/4 of the game with him on the bench is when the crumbling started.
Barnes, Hammonds, in. Quick start. Can West Coast respond? Wesley working against Hammonds here. And the arm comes in on Hammonds. Only his second. Still got the opportunity to keep kind of throwing him at West as that player guarding him. Rhinos finally picking up enough for the Eagles to get some turns at the line out of these on-the-floor fouls. You really need both. Wesley's a really good free throw shooter. He's about 86% on the year. I think he missed one earlier today. We can really use both now. Hits the first. 1-point game.
I think we're going to see Carnes with the ball a whole lot in this overtime period, even with a lot of pressure.
Rims out the second. Rhinos up 1. Have the ball. It's time for the Eagles to go to work on D. Hammonds all the way over to Austin Balls. Didn't really look like he was seriously considering a 3 at that point. Pulls up for a tough 2, but gets it. That's a tough one. David gets it into Wesley right away. Trying to get to work. Here's the double. David gets the opportunity here. What's he going to do? Fires it. Austin, 2. And it's in. It's a 1-point game. About a minute into overtime. The response after the basket by Austin Balls of SCLU. Austin Pace of WCBC. And swinging around the perimeter. Lange finds Hammonds in the corner. Hammonds is looking around. He's going to pull up. He's going to miss it. Austin's going to get it.
Good
And
rebound.
Wesley with the chance to get the lead.
Austin Pace making an impact in the overtime period. Wide open lane.
And he's going to get his hand there on that one. Wesley's going to go to the line, a chance to flip the margin here if he can get it. 3:44. Third foul on number 3.
Comes line for the Eagles for 2 shots.
And
Wesley Barnes.
Wesley Winston on that one. Definitely taking some of that contact throughout the game, right? Free throws are free in terms of the shooting, but often anything but free in terms of earning your way there.
And some of the missed free throws at the beginning of this game really would have helped, obviously, going into overtime.
Hits the first, ties it up. Hits the second, takes the lead. Frazier bringing it up. The crowd needs to roar. The Eagles need to guard. Hammond's up top. Barnes in the corner. Turns the corner. Hammond's driving. Murata able to get up, stay straight up. Some Roy Hibbert level verticality. And Barnes is going to get that foul there on the drive. Excellent defense by Franco Murata. And strong at the rim. Goes straight up. SCLU coach was unlucky because that one looked like it was going down. Huge moment by a player that, with deep respect for him, given what Zach Clay did in the first half, West Coast fans would rather have right now, just in the sense of, man, look at what he was doing. But that's why Coach Barra had the trust in him to put him into this game, because he can come up with a moment like that. Wesley then accelerates, draws the foul, hits both. 3-point lead for the Eagles with 3:24 left.
That single play for Murata might change the tide of this game.
He's going to have to guard Frazier here. And Franco on 4 fouls, if memory serves. And the late one there comes in. And that's going to be his 5th. And the ref's getting it now. Franco coming back to the bench. Jacob Castro coming in. And so the Eagles going small. If it comes down to free throws and ball handling, you like that, but you still got to clean up the boards and contest the rim. SCLU at their best on offense when they can try to access the rim. Can the Eagles, can David Goa and Austin Pace provide the size, provide the shot contesting at the rim to give them what they need? 2-point game, 3-11. Can Frazier cut it to rim? And it sits on the back of the rim. And there's a shot clock there. Castro moving. Can he get it? And foot on the line. It looks like they're going to say Eagles by 1.
Quite literally towing the line on that baseline drive, just a bit too far outside.
And sorting a couple things out here at the table. Looks like we've got what we need. 3:01. Eagles by 1. Rhinos with the ball. And Coach Bruce Victor of SCLU saying, and that is going to be 4 on him. The computer got a bit ahead of the books. And so they're checking everything. The ref's making sure that this is all lined out. And so we're at 4 right now on Murata. Dodges the bullet. I think the error happened early because we mentioned him being on 4 a bit back. But if the books had everything, then that's a big benefit in the Eagles' favor. 2:57 in this one. Eagles by 1. Who will step up for the Eagles or the Rhinos? Frazier misses, but that second bounce there,
Bounce
gives
could
the
have hurt
Rhinos
him.
hope. Goa comes down strong with it. Lucy looking, finds David, gets across. Who will have the next punch in this heavyweight fight. Lucy short. Pace gets it.
Rebound.
And the rebound, it's going to go to jump ball and stay with the Eagles. Now the crowd is getting noise that we didn't have 2-3 minutes left of regulation. But the energy is, you can feel it here. Eagles up 1.
Austin Pace doing all the little things in overtime.
And both teams trying to sort this one out. Caleb's got to get up. David goes for it. He's got 9. He finds Caleb. Finds Wesley. 6. Can he get up? Can he do it? Can't get it to go at the rim. 2 minutes here. Lon's driving down the court. Murata comes out on him. Now slides over to Frazier as the teams settle into their set. Barnes looking for it here. Frazier trying to work on Murata. That one's going to be good to go. 1 point lead for the Rhinos. Eagles getting it here. David to Austin. Wesley with space. 1.5 just about. Tapped away by Barnes. Now he's trying to extend the Rhinos lead on this one. Frazier almost loses it.
Barnes
Wesley
gets
comes
it
away
back.
with it.
What a way to win the ball back. Doing it on the defensive end.
Huge possession. David at the rim can't get it. A late whistle. And he's going to have his chance from the line. As Barnes is going to get rung up, and that's going to be 5 on Barnes. He walks over to his coach. He knows that's his 5th. Goa with a chance to tie, a chance to flip the lead. And all of the nervous tension, the kind of simmering anxiety. There are no simmers. It's boiling. It's on fire. The house insurance has been used. Rhinos up 1. David can earn 2. 1:16 left in this one. Gets it to go. Does it the nervous way, but will take it. And number 21, Bastion Cruz, coming in for 14, Martin Lange. And Jordan Cabezas, number 25, we saw go out earlier, is gutting his way back out onto the court. You can see the limp. Yep. He's going to try to play this one out. It feels good enough to go. Frazier down 1 at the top, 1 minute. Kicks it to balls. Hammonds.
Great defensive pressure from West Coast.
Excellent recovery. He's got a pick to his right. Pace tags around. Cabezas down the baseline. Gets it out. 5. The steal. The pass. West Coast comes away with it. Go up. Deflected away by Hammonds, but it's going to stay with West Coast. Eagles with the ball. The 1-point lead. They've been here. They've had more than a 1-point lead. But this is a moment that if you can score, you can change the trajectory of the next 42 seconds. But you have to execute. Wesley, Hammonds, mano a mano. Now Goe is involved. Franco in the corner, back to David. Across to Caleb. Pace, Lucy, Barnes, 3. Misses, tapped away. A foul called on the rebound attempt.
I don't know. Looks like.
And Pace is going to get rung up for that. Honestly, it's not the worst. Because you got to figure if SCLU is going to get the board, that they're going to get a shot up. And so you may as well know the result of that at the start and have a chance for it to only cost you 1.
Minimal damage.
But Cabezas coming off an ankle injury, coming off the bench just seconds ago, splashes the first.
And he's got to be in some pain. Still finishing the free throw.
Timeout on the floor. Timeout. Eagles.
Tie game.
Full timeout.
Eagles calling a timeout. They're going to have 1 more to navigate overtime with. Maybe trying to ice Cabezas a little bit, get him to think about it a bit more. Let's just say that Jordan Cabezas hits this free throw. West Coast able to break through any pressure, gets it into the half court. When do you want that shot going up? The Rhinos have 2 timeouts, so you're going to have to make it a buzzer beater for them not to be able to have any kind of sense to respond. But if you foul and try to maybe fight your way back in, it kind of feels like you might not want to wait all the way down to the buzzer. So when do you push the gas pedal down? When do you try to go for it?
I think with probably about 10 seconds left, still give your chance. Maybe if you're looking for a drive, about 10 seconds left, you can still pass out of it. You got enough time to work a few things and then get a chance for an offensive rebound. Obviously, nothing's guaranteed, but you got to at least give yourself probably about 11 seconds to take off of the clock because you can't give the other side any chance to get a good look on offense.
21.0 seconds left. Eagles out of timeouts. Rhinos with 2. Any foul on the floor is going to lead to 2 shots. Hassan Diabon at the scorer's table for the Rhinos. And it looks like he would be coming in for the shooter if he makes this and sends it to the opportunity.
Yeah, with that hurt ankle, he may be a liability on the defensive end for the most important play of the game.
Quick jump. Dodging the bullet, and that's he made the free throw, so, barring a millisecond early jump, we would be talking about a different situation, but at least the opportunity of a missed free throw, right? That because of that foul, you got a chance at 1 point. Carnes with space here. They're probably going to bring 2 at some point, but it might not be for a while. Can Wesley get around? He's facing pressure. He gets it to David. 6 seconds. Back to Wesley. 3 seconds. Pulls up. That's off. And that one is going to send us to double overtime.
This is the end of our first overtime.
84 money's worth tonight.
I'm going to run out of cliches and vocal cords by the time this is done. And Jeff has to turn around and get pumped up for a monumental heavyweight showdown between Indiana Christian and Newport Christian for the men's title here at the West Coast Tip-Off Tournament. If you're joining us early for that, if you say, oh, you know what, 8:30 Pacific time, I'll jump on a couple minutes in advance, see the guys shooting around or something like that, and you're wondering why an increasingly hoarse duo is screaming into the mics. Welcome to double overtime. Eagles 84, Rhinos 84. We're losing our minds, we're losing our voices. We just don't want to lose the game. SCLU overcame an 18-point second half deficit. Took control at the start of overtime, had the lead and possession at one point. Eagles had the same at other points. And at 84-84.
Neither team wants to give way. We've seen some big plays, even from role players, some small things that led to big things for both teams that got us to this point.
We've seen Franco Murata foul out, then check the books, realize he hadn't even come back on. We saw Eric Cabezas with a pretty massive ankle roll. He got his way back onto the court. We've seen technicals play.
And a great move to get to the basket, try to draw a foul, get more free throws for Wesley Carnes.
Hassan Diabon claiming he was just going up on that. Wesley with a chance for 2. You like his odds from the line? If you're about an 85% shooter, that's about 1.7 expected points each time.
He's definitely
I'll
the
take
one you
that,
want.
Right? Rattles home the first. 1 point lead for the Eagles. Well, all of our guests here at Tip-Off Tournament, if nothing else, know that West Coast will go above and beyond for their student experience. It's double overtime with 4:50 left in this. Eagles by 2. The intensity that everyone on these teams has had to play with. There's not a lot of bench players on these teams. And so we haven't seen them call almost anything away from the ball on the floor in this game. And not a fortuitous time for Caleb Luthier for the Eagles for it. But Caleb, even as he's walking off, hyping up his teammate Wes, hyping up Jacob who's coming in for him. Swirls that one in is Ryan Frazier.
A lot of times it's the simple things that affect games. Fouls and free throws have been a major part of why it's a close game in double overtime.
Splashes the second. And SCLU
Timeout on the floor. Timeout Rhinos.
calls a timeout. Really only 17 seconds into double overtime here. I don't know exactly how much has changed of the situation, but an opportunity maybe to rest up the guys who are playing. Cabezas is back on the bench, and so possibly someone who had tried to be able to play through and just wasn't able to do it. You certainly respect the heart, and maybe that's not exactly what's going on, but I don't feel like you deploy that guy and then pull him for like strategic reasons.
Right.
If you're putting him out there, you think that he's going to be able to finish it for you. On the Eagles side of things, Zach Clay at 5 is out. Caleb Luthi at 5 is out. Franco Murata at 4. David Goa at 4. And this is going to be a tense one as both sides, it would be gutting really for both sides to get this far, to put so much into this game and not to be able to walk away with the win. But looking to sports, it's going to happen for one or the other. It's going to be the Eagles who have the chance to gain the lead first.
West Coast.
After this time out,
West Coast.
as David Goa gets it to Wesley. Immediately back to David, working one-on-one against Frazier. No real help available. They trust him to be able to get it across. Wesley gets up. Can't get it. Frazier with the board. Rhinos with the ball. No one with the lead. Frazier running.
Good on-ball defense from Pace.
Balls with a difficult board. Hammonds from outside. Out. And they are going to send Murata
Fifth personal foul.
to the bench at this point.
Go to line for SCLU number 33.
And
Asanye Diabon.
earlier in this game, when they thought that Murata was out, they sent in Jacob Castro. And yet, at this point, with Castro and Felucci, it's going to be Alex South coming in for this one.
Checking in for the Eagles number
And,
21, Alex South.
There's not a lot more on the bench. A lot of the guys who consistently play for this Eagles team, even in terms of off-the-bench minutes, are in the game right now. And so, man, if you're David, you got to be careful on 4.
Foul trouble been a major story of this game, but some missed free throws, don't really mind that.
Hassan Diabon misses the first, but if he can hit the second, he'll take the lead, and he does. 1 point lead for the Eagles. David to Wesley to David. And he'll get it across half court here.
It's like they're trying to work Wesley off the ball to get him open. And they do.
16 on the shot clock. What can Wesley do?
He may have lowered his shoulder just a little bit.
Offensive foul.
Force
Defense
on Wesley.
Definitely sold the contact. My word.
And in a double overtime game, it's unsurprising that you would have players accumulating more. But it's rough, and it doesn't feel like with respect to Derek Barnes, good contributor for the Rhinos. He fouled out earlier. It feels like the Eagles are having it hit them more and harder. Wesley with the pick, the steal, the drive, the foul. Chance to earn 2 at the line. A big defensive play. We talk a lot about Wesley's offense because Wesley does a lot of offense, but he's really good at jumping into passing lanes or picking the puck. Wesley with a chance.
And he's tired, just giving it all out on the floor, both on both ends, offense and defense, making plays.
When a 40-minute game becomes a 50-minute game, and you're carrying this kind of offensive load. Zach Clay was helping out in the first half.
He's gone.
But, I mean, man, it's been close to an hour since Zach has been in the game. What a roller coaster, right? If you're tuning in for Indiana Newport, we promise we will get you that eventually. But right now, we are working our way through really a heart attack-inducing succession of overtimes. Hassan Diabon out for 3. Austin Ball's on the far side. 6 on the shot clock. Frazier, don't foul. 1. And West Coast ball. 1 point lead. 3:06 left. Please put us out of our wonderful misery. Get us out of here with a win. David bringing it up. Not going to face pressure until he gets across the half-court line. Wesley on the far side. David driving here. Hits it. Hits it. David go up.
Everybody on the floor watching Wesley Carnes, waiting for him to come off the ball. David just with a great recognition of the defense, drove right to the basket.
Super heads-up play by David there. He saw that everyone was off there. His own guy kind of had that corner of the eye over there, and he said, hey, you're not going to guard me. I can't make this. And so David Goa giving him a 3-point lead. I don't think we've been up 3 in either of the overtimes so far. If we have, it's been erased by just a tsunami of
very
stress,
quickly.
Right? But yeah, that was another life, right? That was calm David. Timeout here. Both sides trying to find answers, questions to ask, how to make this happen. The Whirlwinds and the Seahawks coming up after this. But it's been a whirlwind of emotions. I'm sorry, I do not have a Seahawks-related pun. But hopefully the Eagles will be able to soar. Birds is as close as I'm getting right now. As we try to see this one out in the Walter Center. We're in double overtime. The crowd is roaring. The teams are on their feet, and not only because they're cheering, but because they thought they'd be warming up like half an hour ago. None of our students are going to be in the dorms at curfew tonight. But it's tournament basketball, it's overtime basketball, it's Eagles basketball. The Rhinos bringing it up down 3.
This game is really testing everyone's love of the game, especially these players out on the floor.
And Lange, Martin Lange inbounding to Austin Balls. Pace stepping up. This has often been the matchup. Carnes on 4 fouls, Goa on 4 fouls. Hammonds for 3. Hammonds is short. And that one's going to stay with SCLU. Alex South is in shot. And a correction there. Faces were aghast, mouths were agape. And he signaled the wrong way on that one. Refs taking some heat from the SCLU side of things, but I think everyone that was over there watching that one directly was shocked by that call. I think the surprise implies the reality of it. David's going to need to get it over, and he'll do so. Turns the corner. And Hassan Diabon is going to set up the offensive foul there.
I feel like that could have gone
Goa
either
is
way.
out. Coach Vara's looking for answers. It's going to be Dale Brillantes.
Dale Brillantes.
And this is his moment. He can become, I don't know if a West Coast legend, but you know what?
No,
Why not?
I definitely think he will be a West Coast
Hit
legend.
a shot, win the game, dream big, right?
In this game, you never know.
Diabon, Frazier, three, in and out. Diabon knocks at the balls, goes up for two. That was short.
Cannot get a rebound.
Diabon, he gets it. 1 point game. Oh man.
West Coast struggling on the boards.
Zach Clay-sized hole in our lineup right now. Diabon said Clay got the better of me earlier, but I'm around later. 35 Frazier.
Sometimes the best ability is availability, and
First
that's exactly
foul.
what he is.
On the game, an incredibly clean game by Ryan Frazier. Everyone else is at like 4.5. He hasn't gotten rung up yet. Wesley with a chance to push it back out to three. I think he's missed 1 or 2 on the course of the game, but all in all, it's been really good. He's something like 13 for 15 or so, maybe even a little higher. Splashes the first. The margin is 2. And in his moment of silence, in the midst of the chaos of this game, it'll be out. 2 is the margin. 2 minutes left. Frazier bringing it up the court. Pace steps out. Pulls up for 2. Nice 2, but hey, I'll take someone shooting. And Dale Brillantes grabs it and throws it in right away. You want to make that play, but man, you gotta have the awareness of what's going on there, Dale. Castro finds Carnes. Carnes finds the corner. He's got a quadruple team.
Smart to hold it there for pace, not turning it over.
Castro turns the corner. Can he find Wesley? It's knocked away. And we're gonna have a timeout by Wesley. 1:26 left in this one. 8 on the shot clock. I think you got to burn a timeout there. Right after the quadruple team on Wesley, all of the defenders were on that side of the floor, and they hadn't gotten enough open space to be able to switch and swing it. So you take your timeout and you do what you have to do, right? 8 seconds left.
Tip-off tournament championship, boys division.
We've seen Zach, David, and Franco leave this game. The fans have
Indiana Christian.
They are here longer. No homework has been done yet tonight. They thought, you know what, 7:55 or so, we'll get out of here. There is a poor family in Indiana right now that just wants to watch their children play basketball. And you know what? I blame SCLU for this. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, that comeback was unnecessary.
That really not very gracious of them. If you are tuning in, really from wherever you are around the country for the tip-off tournament, we will pass along the start time as soon as we hear it. We've had a pool play matchup between Indiana and Newport. We've had a bracket matchup between Indiana and Newport. And a double elimination bracket where nobody had lost yet, so a lot of bench minutes going on. We have an everything to play for matchup between Indiana and Newport coming up.
It's a big game.
At some point after this, I don't know if these guys need to warm up or not. Or just throw them out cold and see what happens.
Might have to push it till tomorrow morning at this point.
It was just a midnight madness. Double overtime here. Eagles 91, Rhinos 91. Brillantes, he's got to find someone. 6 on the shot clock. Wesley's got a chance.
3 seconds.
3, 2, 1. Dame time.
Ginormous screen.
He drops the hammer from downtown. It's entirely a different urban area.
Frazier
West
not
Coast
able to
comes up
answer.
with the
Oh my
rebound.
goodness.
Castro has to find someone. Gets tied up for the jump ball. And that one is going to go to SCLU a chance to bring it back in.
And that shot looked good all the way. Karn just having to throw up a desperation 3. We know he's able to make it, but that's not exactly what you want going to the end of the shot clock in this game.
I don't think I remembered or saw or knew the shot clock. You saw him look up at 3 and not panic, clearly, but he had real thoughts with 3 on the shot clock.
He doesn't mind taking a deep 3. We know that much.
Hammonds for 2. Out. Frazier. Board. West has to be careful. He's on 4. You can't have him foul out. Diabon. South with the board. Carnes with the ball. He's running. He's got 2 to his right. He's got 1 to his
Pulls
left.
back. Why is
He's
this
got
so?
space. He's going in. And no foul called there. Shot clock is off. It's a 3 and it's going to be out of town. Eagles ball. 23-8 with this. And the Eagles have an opportunity to put this one away. I think if you're SCLU, you try to pressure for about 5 seconds or so. Roll the dice, right? And then after that, if it gets down to 17, gets down to 15, then that's the time that you got to foul. Even if it makes it a 2-possession game, and that's what's tough because it's a 3 right now.
Timeout on the floor. Timeout SCLU.
To a greater number. And so, man, what a moment here on this one. In an alternate timeline, I'd really be interested to go over and check the scorers table. How many is that? Quiet-ish first half, they turned it on in the second half. You get 10 extra minutes of basketball. Get some free throws along the way with it, it'll add up. But the memorable moment of the game so far is Wesley bombing away and giving West Coast a lead that may just do it for them in this one. 23.8, Eagles up 3 with the ball. The Rhinos are going to have a plan. Know when to foul. Ideally, if you can, know who's given the foul. Frazier coming up closest. He's only on 1 foul.
Yeah.
So he's got the length to disrupt the pass.
Both of these teams with basically nobody left.
Delayed game warning number 35 on the Rhinos.
And Frazier getting a warning for the layup game. Wesley gets it and tied up over to Austin. Crazy pass. You got to get it forward. He does it. Wesley's free. And with the opportunity here to ice this one. These players are going to need some ice after this game. These guys just have to be dead.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you're running on just adrenaline at this point.
And when you take contact like Carnes did on that last play, he took some contact there. That feels so much worse. Definitely going to feel that after the game when he goes to bed tonight.
He's going to wake up tomorrow. He's getting ready to go about his day. Do some door knocking, work on some papers.
Probably
He's going to feel that one.
Probably just think this was a dream at some point.
Out for both. SCLU dodges the bullet. Frazier in the cross.
Clock wasn't going. Clock did not start running.
13 points. 6. Clock didn't start, and so at 13.6 on that one, you cannot give up a 3. The Rhinos haven't been super proficient from 3, but now's not the time to mess around.
Got to think Frazier's going to be getting a look here.
And a bad pass. Balls is going to get it. Carnes trying to provide pressure. Hammonds, that's the guy you want. It's going to be
Carnes tipped it away.
It's going to stay on SCLU's side, but 5.4 left on it. Enough time there, and good work by them moving it quickly enough that it's not 1.4. 5.4 is enough. Diabon, can he find someone? Over the top. Hammonds from distance. Pulls up. Please not triple overtime.
Looks like that'll be the game.
And it sounded like there was a whistle. A little confusion if this is the end or not.
He'll probably get to shoot the free throws at the least.
And just the foul on Diabon. Really no time left. Coming down for the rebound. You have to fight. You have to put your body on the line. And that whistle before the buzzer is going to make this ending a slightly longer formality. 0.7 left. Carnes with a chance to officially seal the package, ensure the package is mailed, the tracking info is there. 3-point game, 0.7 left, one will do it. If you make the first, I feel like you brick the second. Rattles it home. The Eagles walking back. Out and
Finally
the
over.
win for the Eagles in the Walter Center. Exhaustion, elation, an incredible double overtime. Win and loss and win again. The Eagles escaping 95-91. Absolute mayhem, absolute bedlam, an absolute classic here in the Walter Center. And the fans in the stands will have to go from the type of that to a battle of a high school game coming up.
Championship game of all
things.
things.
For Indiana, Newport, thank you for your patience. Thank you for your support. I'm grateful that you're supporting us.
For sure.
SCLU/Kickoff Tournament fan Venn diagram. Thanks for sticking with us through double overtime of truly one of the most memorable games of this season. One of the most memorable games in recent years.
No doubt, no doubt.
I can barely believe like 3/4 of the things I saw in this game. Jeff now has to turn around and call another game with this one. He has to just double up
Y'all pray for
his
me.
voice with this one. Pray for this man. What a game. What a win. 49 for Wesley Carnes, threatening the single game West Coast high. 51, originally set by Amon Vicente, tied by Wesley earlier in this year. And 2 free throws early. Wesley missed 7 free throws along the way. 20 out of 27 is still really good. But, you know, we had the record, but maybe that would have gotten us to double overtime. So 44% from the field in the second half.